what is this stream to? Does this
Uh, it goes on YouTube and LinkedIn.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know. Okay. It's a
Is
neat
that
little
okay?
app. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I was just more curious about the app.
Yeah.
Cuz
This app is called Melon. It's a live streaming app exactly like Restream and StreamYard.
okay.
Um, yeah. It's pretty cool. Um, Let me just check
That's
if we are live.
yeah, that's what I was curious if this was going to Restream or if this is like instead of Restream.
Yeah, it is exactly like Restream. So we seem to be live, Ernest. So what I'm gonna do a quick little introduction,
Okay.
uh, and then we'll get into the conversation. Give me a second there. There's some noise on your background. Is that going to be there?
Um man, it's pretty windy outside
Okay,
and my my headphones haven't been working
that is
in their
completely fine. It's all right. Let's do it then. Let me get started with the introduction. So
Okay.
I'll hide you on stream, and I'll bring you back after the intro. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special late night stream on SalmanNeedsAJob. Today, I'm joined by Ernest of Gaia from the Bankless DAO, and we are going to be talking about Notion, specifically how Bankless DAO uses Notion. So, if you're not familiar with Bankless DAO, first of all, it is one of the most amazing places on the internet. It is a DAO with a mission to help the world go bankless by creating user friendly on ramps for people to discover decentralized financial technologies through education, media, and culture. The DAO started exactly a year ago on May 5th and launched into a season 4 literally just a couple of days ago. Over the last year, the DAO has created some incredible products like the Bankless Academy, Bankless Consultancy, a bunch of fantastic newsletters, over 3 different podcasts, and that I love to listen to, a few killer NFT projects, and honestly, the list goes on and on. And all of this has been built ground up by a community, a self-driven community who have come together to support the bankless movement. So I think over the last year, the DAO has established a lot of processes, governing structures, organizational structures to function as a community-driven initiative. There's several guilds, a bunch of active projects, easily over 10 meetings happening every day, being run across over 200 channels on Discord. It is really quite an amazing phenomenon, and one you can only appreciate if you get involved. Part of these amazing processes that I mentioned is the extensive documentation that the DAO has on Notion. I honestly can't describe to you how extensive it is, and that is why we have the resident Notion expert from Bankless DAO, Ernest of Gaia, joining us today to go through this very topic. I was introduced to Ernest during an onboarding call on one of the channels on Discord, where he was generously educating us new members what the guild was about and how things work over there. After that, I have had the good fortune to watch him work and found him to be an extremely valuable member of the DAO. From what I know, Ernest is involved with a few different projects within the DAO, Carbon NFT project being one of them. He's the governance coordinator over at DAO relationships. I know that he contributes to the marketing guild and to Bankless Africa, and I see him being an overall good Samaritan across Discord every day. I had reached out to Ernest, I believe, last month for a potential conversation about Notion on a live stream, and we are going to be doing that today. My goal with this conversation is to understand where Ernest comes from, what his experience as a DAO contributor has been like, and obviously go over how Bankless DAO uses Notion. Small disclaimer: it is 4:30 a.m. where I am. The stream was scheduled only a couple of hours ago, but I trust that my coffee is going to keep me strong, and we're going to have an interesting conversation. Now, before we get started, if you're new to SalmanNeedsAJob, which I assume you are, I am Salman. I explore the world of work on this channel. More recently, as I have been getting more involved in DAOs, my content also is taking that direction. If you subscribe, you can expect to see some really interesting conversations about, you guessed it, DAOs and Web3. And in case you happen to be tuning in live, drop a GM in the chat and shoot your questions away. All right, that is it for the introduction. Let's get Ernest back on the stream. How was that, Ernest?
Wow, that was an amazing introduction. It's interesting when you're in Bankless DAO and then you pick your head up and you hear about Bankless DAO. It really is amazing. All the different projects and work streams and interests that people have.
It absolutely is, and maybe you've been around in the DAO for a while, so maybe you don't get to appreciate it as much. But because I am new out here, and I totally see like how it's mind blowing, like how this whole place operates. Let me get this camera right. Oh shit. Yeah, okay, yeah, how this whole place operates. And yeah, and really like it is a place of wonder. There's so much happening, there's so many guilds, so many projects that are happening every day, and only in a year it has built such amazing products, so which is awesome. Yeah.
I learn something new every time. It's amazing every day. So there's just something else new to learn. New people to meet like yourself, a lot of opportunities for live streamers like yourself and other media folk.
And I think like even the people over there, like yourself, I'm honestly inspired by you, like every time you're around, because you truly function as a good Samaritan. You're always contributing within the Discord, you're always open to help and all of that. So I wanted to actually a little bit get into these traits as a dog contributor, how just generally speak about your journey as a DAO contributor. But before that, how about we get started? Do a little background, as much as you're comfortable, about yourself, about where you come from, as in your background with work and everything. I know you have an interesting introduction, which I have written in front of me, but it would be awesome if you go over it, because it was a little complicated for me to comprehend, as well as I'm not very crypto savvy generally. So it would be awesome to hear from you.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's interesting the kind of like life's work history that brought me here. I am, almost in my mid 40s. I remember getting a pager, and the first cell phones and a Commodore 64 computer in the mid 80s. Was probably my first computer. But essentially, after college and really ever since college, I've lived cooperatively and I've lived collectively. And, in my 30s, started working with agricultural cooperatives and permaculture communities. And, they do decentralized education. Agricultural communities are very decentralized in nature, as long as, with the exception of industrial agriculture, obviously. But local agriculture is, where I learned how to cooperate and where I got excited about cooperating and helping other people. And I guess even ever since I've been in school, like I've always been willing to help people like learn homework assignments and stuff like that. Studying, in college, in groups and doing group projects. And I just see DAOs as essentially, Web3 tools that allow cooperation. And I think that given a lot of the, given the rapidly changing, ecological environment and social environments, work environments, the ability to cooperate is really going to be the broad skill that I think begins to develop in that we'll need to develop, and if you don't know how to cooperate, Web3 is going to be very difficult. So I really do like to focus on the people and being available in Discord, giving opportunities for people just to like speak what they're learning or to just talk with other people about blockchain. It's like every month I hear a story from somebody, like they're just so happy to talk with somebody else about blockchain in Discord because they can't talk to their family, they can't, their friends don't understand. And yeah, over the last 5 years, yeah, I guess I bought my first token, um, was an altcoin, and I thought it was an interesting project, and it was tied to gold, and got into regulations. And I don't know if it ended up being a scam or just ended up being a really difficult project, because you have to like prove that you have gold, and all the all the things that come with that. But essentially, that's where I got started trading, and then seeing that coin kind of flop led me to be like, well, let me read the Bitcoin white paper, and really
Okay.
figure out what's going on. And that became, my mantra became do your own research. And I often joke about that I wish the research guild in the Bankless DAO was called the like do your own research guild. Because that's really the culture. And it's not a lot of specialized research that folks need to do, although there's lots of that out there. But essentially, learning with other people, investigating things together, exploring things together. Who doesn't want a work environment where you can do that, right?
Right, right. Yeah. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if I see a proposal from you about DYOR guild on the forum. You really love writing proposals, don't you?
Well, yeah. And well, because it's like, how do you actually, fundamentally DAOs come down to their governance frameworks, whether it's a work group, whether it's a project team, whether it's a guild, or something larger in a DAO. Every group has some type of social agreement on how they're going to work together. And in DAOs, right, you're always trying to see how can you write a framework that decentralizes power and gives the members of your work group the autonomy and the tools to like opt in to contribute when they have the time. Not everybody can wake up and just be in Discord, 6 to 10 hours a day, or
Right.
play blockchain video games half the day. Um, and I'm always trying to adopt crypto and save crypto and trade my labor for crypto. And 5 years later, I'm now at the point where I can, work full time in this space. But just like any changing of careers, or life change, it started 4 or 5 years ago with very small increments of time. And just finally, you know, now I do everything that's Web3 that I can. If I can
Got it.
walk and earn crypto, I walk. I play video games, browse, search. I'll start running soon. Genomes DAO for your genomes, you get crypto. There's just lots of things that you can do before you try to supplement your whole, life's income with one job working in a DAO. You know,
And
I think in the
what are those things?
well, I just think the main, like, it's kind of off topic from Notions, but Notion is a good
Yeah.
example where if you have a broad set of skills, if you can get multiple streams of income, you become less dependent not only on banks, but into, less dependent on one stream of income. Um, you know, Farmers know this intuitively. You have a cash crop that 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 covers your core expenses and your livelihood, and then you diversify over time and add crops or services, to that business model, because things change, you know. And so it's kind of the same in the DAO space, where yes, you should, learn to buy and sell crypto a little bit, because it is volatile. You can also play some video games and earn crypto. And if you can learn skills like Notion, every single DAO will give you tokens to help with Notion, you know.
Wow.
And so many DAOs use Notion
Right.
because it's a good, again, in a decentralized organization, you don't have a group of people coming to you telling you, this is how you have to do, uh, we just now have a handbook guide in Bankless DAO, after a year, right?
Hmm.
So we have a guide, but you still got to go pick up that guide and read it. And for a lot of DAOs, that's what Notion is. It's kind of a repository for the most up to date information that's not in draft form. And it's a wiki, it's documents, and it's a database. And, again, like I know what databases are. I could always do Excel, but until I started really getting into Notions, I didn't really understand databases. And I learned in college I didn't want to like be all in SQL and coding databases, but I like using, you know, databases, using apps. I'm not a coder, I'm not a dev. I'm always more of a like beta tester.
When did you learn to use Notion, by the way?
September when I joined Bankless DAO.
Well, that was the first time you used it, is it?
Yep. And you know, you have to have meetings, right? Again, there's no pre-established people like in Bankless DAO anyways that's saying like this is when you have to have meetings, this is how they work. It's just a culture of having meetings, different types of meetings. And if you want to have meetings and organize people, you need to know how to create a meeting agenda.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
there's a lot of self project management skills that, I've always worked for my own companies or businesses or for small business owners. Um, but being in DAOs really is like, it's like running your own business, you know, and I don't know many colleges teach you how to do that right out of the gate.
Right.
And it's not something a lot of people are used to, but the more people get involved with DAOs, the more people will understand how to create work groups, how to organize meetings, how to manage tasks and identify priorities. And if you can do that asynchronously with a group of people, you can get quite a bit of work done and just have meetings, as you need them.
Actually, I already appreciate many things you're describing because what I wanted to also discuss with you are these skills as a contributor that people need to think about. And you've mentioned a few. One is simply the ability to cooperate, right? Cooperation, and now you describe how Notion, building yourself, the skill of being good at Notion itself is a great avenue for you to be of value to a DAO. And yeah, and talk about skills within a DAO. You're now literally launching a learn to earn program for Notion on the metaverse, right? We'll get into that. We'll get into Notion. Just before that, just want to pick up on some things that you've described before this. So. Uh, a cooperative, right? The synergies between a cooperative and DAO. Can you just explain that, generally speaking, what is a cooperative and how do you how and what about it is like making it similar to a DAO?
Well, essentially, there's the cooperative or as a tax structure, as part of your governor, part of your like your government. But essentially, any cooperative, and there's 7 key cooperative principles to every cooperative, um, and one is self education. Um, one is usually I'd have to pull these up. It would be
Did you say 7 principles of a cooperative?
yeah. Um, do, 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 do.
open and voluntary membership, democratic member control, members' economic participation, autonomy and independence, education, training, and information, cooperation among cooperatives, concern for community. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that sounds like a DAO to me. You know,
Hmm.
most cooperatives still have like a board of director kind of structure and a cooperative, a kind of like business structure because they're a business, and regulated and stuff like that. And DAOs are coming from a space where if we don't need to go that route, right, we'll stay away from it and kind of self organize ourselves. But that's essentially what cooperatives do. So, cooperatives and cooperation isn't all that new. And it is a little slower, but people tend to be a little happier because you don't have people losing all the time.
Hmm.
And, you know, uh, if you're oriented to your space, it's quite comfortable. And if you can manage your time and set a pace with your schedule, mostly I hear a lot of people are just happy to work in a healthy, good environment with other people. That the particular DAO doesn't matter, the particular project doesn't matter, but just the ability for people to work at the things that they want to work at is tremendously liberating for people. And at the same time, it's super confusing. and
Right,
if you
right.
don't right and if you don't come from a background of cooperative or community organizing or anything local,
Hmm.
um, local agriculture, then it's a very disorienting space. And it's the first time that I've ever had a completely online job. um, but actually I just moved to Utah, and the property owner manages tiny homes as Airbnbs, and they just happen to be a Bankless DAO member. And so I'm actually going to
Wow.
pay my
In
rent
bank?
in bank, and
Wow.
they're going to get their level 1 membership, probably in a couple months, from me paying my rent in bank.
That is
And I couldn't
amazing.
right I couldn't have planned this. This wasn't there was no proposal, right? It was just meeting somebody that is interested in blockchain and trying to connect with people
That is
however I
beyond
can.
amazing. That is
Yeah.
so such a story. Oh my god. I think that's like a great example of how like the bank token itself, the use case of it outside of the online things we work on, which we see right now in Bankless DAO. You're able to buy merch and everything using bank, which is amazing, and the kind of economic activity that Bankless DAO has built around bank is quite amazing too. I wanted to
Right.
ask you one more thing, and we'll get into Notion because I understand that is the topic of the day, and we had discussed that. That is what you want to talk about too. So, see, some people adjust into a DAO quicker than the others, right? What do you think? What do you think the traits are over here? Like, what do you see in your experience over the last few months? What are the kind of people that drop off, and do you have any like advice for people who find it difficult to like get involved?
Oh no, that's a good question. um and this is Web3, so there's no one here telling us to stay on topic but ourselves. and it's and this is all like relevant and related.
Okay,
But
great.
one of the interesting things that I've noticed is, right, if you're going to propose a project or a group of people want to do something, and you create a project, you're generally still looking for other talent, right? You have an idea. You may even initially be able to get like 50% of the people or 60% of the people that you need to kind of like execute on that idea and bring it to action. And I think it's worth looking at the people in your Discord, no matter what DAO you're in, because I think most people have non Discord jobs, right? And then when they're done with work, then they come into Discord and try to contribute, improve their lives, have fun, whatever it is. Whereas oftentimes we think when we're in our guild meetings and stuff, we're like recruiting people as if they have like 8 or 10 or 20 hours to give in a week. And so one of the things that I try to do is I'm like, really, most people only have 1 or 2 hours, right? And it's this spare time. So as much as I can break things down to allow different types of contributors to participate, and this is also part of building a diverse team, can I get other people in from other time zones? Can I give different types of people onto the team? I really try to build teams with more, like twice as many people as I need, because I know if anybody's anything like me, like they want to do twice as much as what they actually have time for. So basically making a distinction between passive contributions to a project and active contributors allows me to build and bring in all the talent that I need, and hopefully a little bit more than I need, because there are so many unknowns.
Right.
And mostly I'm trying to elicit other people's motivation to want to contribute to a project. So I really don't want to tell them what to do. I just want to be like, I think this is what we want to do. How do you think we should do it, kind of thing. And then
is telling people what to do like just not a thing inside a DAO? Like,
it depends on your project. And some projects, it just depends on your team, right? And if you're sitting at a computer 6 to 8 hours a day and somebody's telling you what to do the whole time, that's going to get kind of cumbersome. But if you just want to be able to come into a project and contribute for 30 minutes or a couple hours, you want somebody there who can just tell you what to do or put it in notions clearly for you, in a Kanban board or something, so that you can discover what to do and then you can do it. That's usually what mostly happens in a DAO, right? Is that they'll make a Kanban board and say, this is what we need done, and then try to encourage people to opt in or volunteer or commit to that action item.
Yeah. Also, I think with roles, there's an expected level of accountability if you hold a role within a DAO, which kind of instructs you what to do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like self-reporting. If you're going to self-organize and self-govern, you also got to self-report, and this is how you let other people know what you're doing, so that everybody can work, towards the same purpose. And yeah, accounting tells you, you have to do some things. But again, the power of DAOs is that we can find the people that we want to do that with.
Got it. Now, I want to ask you before moving on, like, do you have the time to like freestyle a conversation?
Yeah,
some more? Yeah.
you're the one that's up on crazy time of day or evening.
No. Because more recently I've been sitting late nights, so I'm comfortable. This is a little late, but obviously it's a good conversation. I'm happy to indulge. And usually, because you mentioned earlier, because we're trying to schedule it, and you mentioned like even now works, and I was like, that's great, because usually scheduling something and making it happen is is always questionable whether it is even going to happen. So when you say, can we do it now, it's always great. So that's why I wanted to like schedule it for tonight. And obviously I took a couple of hours, which I apologize for. But anyway.
Totally fine. Totally fine. And I would contend, and I think I have since my first month in the DAO, in Bankless DAO, that the hardest thing to do in Web3 is to get people together at the same time in the same place.
Hmm.
Or, and know who those people are going to be ahead of time. Oftentimes you can get people together, but you have no idea who's actually going to show up. You just
Right.
know it's going to happen. And then other times, yeah, like trying to schedule this podcast, it's like,
Right.
right.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about Discord, but because I feel a lot of discussion around Discord is people don't seem to be happy with it as a platform. People think that it is not meant for DAOs, something like that. I on the other, so I just wanted to get your view on that because I feel maybe there are limitations to it not being like natively integrated to how DAOs function and everything. But I found it to be come with a lot of benefits. The fact that you come into something like a Bankless Discord and you have the opportunity to jump into calls, have these conversations with people either directly or on text or over channels and all that. And there is just so many ways to coordinate within Discord. It is such a powerful machine, and I personally find it a little funny that it is people complain about it. So I just wanted to understand, like, from you as like a kind of a veteran and using this day in and day out, what do you think of Discord as a platform just for people to cooperate as we are doing in Bankless DAO?
Um, there's, I do like Discord. I think there's certain work, it's like actually when I first started in the DAO, I was traveling a lot and mostly using my own solar power to power my electronics. So mostly what I did was attend meetings and try to contribute to meetings. And that was easy to do with a phone.
Hmm.
But as you get to writing and planning and organizing and scheduling, it's more helpful to have a laptop. So there's definitely, depending on your hardware and your internet access, Discord may or may not
Be
be,
limiting.
the easiest thing to use.
Hmm.
That being said, the voice capability in Discord and the ability to organize conversations is super beneficial, and the ability to bring in bots, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think the one of the downsides to Discord is it puts everybody in their own, separate little place, and it's very difficult to overlap Discords. You can only be in one voice channel at a time, or even in one Discord at a time, even if you're flopping back and forth through several. But I do like Discord, its voice capability. You have video capability and screen sharing. I think all those are important tools. um, I definitely think that one day, we'll have a completely different alternative to Discord. And and I'll say one thing about the Bankless Discord, because
Hmm.
it's apparently a pretty unique Discord, considering we've hit the 500 channel limit like every other month since its inception. But essentially, that the reason why we have so many channels in Bankless is because we have a culture of, as soon as you have a discussion with a couple people and maybe planning, some type of action, you create a Discord channel for it. You bring that discussion into some place that hopefully makes sense in the Discord, so that anybody that wants to be part of that discussion can find that channel or that thread and become part of that discussion.
Right.
Um, but now we have tons of channels, and some of them are more active than others, but all of them have been, are just so many good discussions.
Right.
And the different, Bankless kind of has two structures where we have, we're always doing media projects of some sort, or projects and the media around those projects. But we're also recognize, this goes back to the 7 cooperative principles, that education, training, and information and cooperation among cooperatives, you need a way to develop talent and the skills and self-educate within the DAO. And so the guilds are kind of, just 13 talents that people have out of the hundreds and hundreds of talents that are out there. But, they're the 13 core talents that we find a media DAO or a media service needs. And, those end up being, great places to like get nourished in the DAO while you're working on projects,
Right,
meet
right.
other, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Ernest, I think why don't we get into Notion? One thing I wanted to understand from you actually is also like what your day looks like within the Bankless DAO. How like what do you do any planning around like any project management for yourself, and what channels you go to on Bankless, and basically also like as we get into the Notion, I thought maybe you can also describe the guilds that you're part of, and yeah, basically I want to understand your work within Bankless DAO. So can we do that?
Yeah.
And
Essentially,
yeah.
essentially the main thing that got me super hooked, other than being able to save money for the first time with blockchain, was how it's going to change social media, right? Just getting tokens for creating social media. It's a no-brainer, right?
Do you literally mean working on social media and earning tokens?
Yeah, so Web3
Okay.
social
Okay.
media
Okay.
is just social media that's incentivized with tokens. We do have some applications where you're connecting your wallet, and it's really like a Twitter, or whatever alternative.
Like
But
gm.xyz, I think.
yeah, but like when the EOS blockchain came out a few years ago, that's when I first hopped into DAOs and started beta testing social media applications, because they have no transaction fees on their blockchain. And that's what you don't want to have transaction fees on every time you make a social media post. Um, and yeah, essentially at the bare minimum, right, advertising revenue can go into incentivizing social media engagement. And so just that tokenization model by itself is disruptive to, folks like Twitter and Facebook, who are always extracting value from you.
Right.
So I've developed my own like social media presence. I'm usually always testing platforms. I've never been out there to like get as many followers or whatever as I could. Just more about learning the different platforms, testing them, being able to show that to other. I've worked with a lot of nonprofits, so kind of helping them with their social media crowdfunding. And so Bankless was a great fit because essentially in June, I started my own research company, testing blockchain applications, doing that, basically publishing it to social media. And that was going to be my business model kind of as I travel on the West Coast of the US. And so as soon as I got into Bankless DAO, I was like, well, here's a bunch of people already doing research. Everybody's doing their own research, and research together. But it's also everybody's doing social media, learning about social media, and bringing different projects on
Yeah.
platforms. So I naturally found a home in like research, education, marketing, and now DAO relationships, as I also become like a little bit more involved with other DAOs that also have their own like research, education, and marketing initiatives within their DAOs.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I've just kind of grown from there. And then, of course, with like GM.xyz and Metafurrow and some other platforms, there's just lots of stuff to do other than Twitter and
Right, right.
Facebook. Although I'm testing VR, I got the Oculus, so I'm,
Okay.
I'm connected with my Facebook account. But
Yeah.
it's yeah,
So on that topic, did you know what happened today with the Bankless YouTube account?
no,
It got deleted.
it got deleted.
Bankless HQ.
The
It
HQ.
the HQ account with 150,000 subs and 10,000 plus hours of content literally got deleted a few hours ago, and then it is back right now. But it is such a shocker, like
Wow.
something like Bankless HQ with such phenomenal like work that they've been doing. YouTube can just in like a flicker just remove it off the planet. And
Oh, so they didn't get hacked or something. This was
no, no,
just
no. This was
YouTube
by YouTube. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
banning
on.
them accidentally somehow, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's
it's very
well, it's
scary.
this. What does blockchain do? It removes intermediaries that are usually gating access and holding power over your community or, whatever. And yeah, social, like, that's why I have a .crypto domain, is because I have a website on IPFS. If anything ever happens on another social media platform or whatever, you know, they can't take down that website. I own it. I never have to register, annually for it. Um,
Got it, got it.
yeah, it's amazing, and I think, yeah, there's just lots of opportunity in social media. It for cooperatives to cooperate with each other. We need communication channels, and when you start cooperating with people, you build reciprocal relationships, that initiate and nourish future communication, right? You start thinking about the future together and how to continue cooperating. And so, yeah, social media is a big part of that.
Okay.
And it's going to go through a big change, right? I think everything like Web3 social media is still trying to just replace Web2 social media, but I
Yeah.
think we're going to see a whole different design once people cooperate and coordinate in different ways. Even the social media that's on Bitcoin protocol is
Mm.
fundamentally different than um,
I think with
Twitter.
social media, I don't even know what to be excited about because over the years, each platform they keep keep changing so much, and some of them, like something like Instagram, which used to be so exciting just a few years ago, is I do not enjoy it anymore. And similarly, some platforms like Twitter, which have remained like evergreen kind of throughout the way. And with even with blockchain, what is it we're going to be expected is kind of unknown, I would say. I mean, in my view. Yeah, the
Yep.
kind of yeah, the kind
Well,
of you yeah.
and so social media on the Bitcoin protocol is interesting because, if you know a little bit about Bitcoin, they have this kind of like node infrastructure, right? So
Yeah.
every node in the Bitcoin network is unique. It runs its own copy of the whole network, and the communication between nodes is standardized, right? And so imagine you being able to create your own custom web presence node and not being stuck in a platform because there's an open communications protocol, and you can kind of build your own node. And since on the Bitcoin protocol, since you're a node in the communications network and there's 13 hops on the Lightning network, you actually earn, if you're a popular node that other people are running, hopping through, then you actually earn some of those transaction fees.
Oh
So your
wow.
social media on the Bitcoin
Okay.
network. One is your own node that you control, open communication, and then you actually earn fees because your social media node is processing transactions on the Lightning Network.
Okay. Very
Right?
interesting. Huh.
Fundamentally different model about what's possible if your communication is open, right? And it's just like the QR codes, right?
Hmm.
Anybody can use a QR code. It's not proprietary. It's a standard communications protocol for what it does. You shouldn't need to have a Facebook or Twitter,
Yeah.
deciding what gets communicated because it owns the communication protocol.
Right. 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 So Ernest, should we do a screen share and go through Notion a little?
Sure. Let me.
Yeah. Why don't you pull that up?
Yeah.
This is
Do
there
that.
should be a share button over there.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, one of the cool things about this platform. Um, okay, one of the cool things I hear it was an AppSumo just a couple of months back in February for like a lifelong deal for $99, which I missed. But apparently it is gonna come back in June. So if you want to get that, this.
Yeah. No, I like this. Yeah, like one of the things that you don't have in, like, you don't have a, like, Restream, like having centralized social media makes it real easy for Restream or other programs to like push content to Twitter or Facebook or whatever. But there's no like Restream or for that'll post to like LivePeer and Library and other, Thetan, or is it Thetan? Other Web3 like video platforms.
Right. Right, right. I just saw today because the YouTube thing happened. I saw a couple of tools. One is called Glass.xyz. Another one, a live streaming tool, which which I should get back to you about. Which Bleep, I think Bleep.xyz maybe. Okay,
Yeah.
so but the problem I found is that the Glass.xyz. I was just trying to just use it. It had like a 30 pages, 30 question form just to get started. I was like, man, what is this?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I got really scared seeing that. So back to YouTube. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm a big YouTube fan. I subscribe to almost 1,000 different channels now. Um, you know, it's the eyeballs are there. Um,
I absolutely love YouTube. It provides me with immense value every day, and obviously such a great platform to create content and everything. But it's just when this whole bankless thing, just realizing the fact that they can just because right now I'm creating content around Web3, so maybe I'm vulnerable too, and that is scary because I've got a lot of content which I've not backed up. So something like the fact that obviously Bankless can get their channel restored, but I could not. So yeah, so nothing we discuss here is financial advice, obviously, and
yeah.
that is yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, the only guarantee is that things will be completely different 3 years from now. And
Mhm.
so I definitely don't think that we have the solutions, that we need 10 years from now today. I
Mhm.
think we got, we're just testing all kinds of things, and the solutions that we're going to come up 3, 5, 10 years from now are are just going to be we couldn't have thought of those today. So
Right, right.
I
Right,
try to
right.
not get too picky or sensitive about certain things, or try to pick winners and losers.
Mhm.
um, Mainly just try to stay safe and you know not risk too much on any one thing, and
Good
help
plan.
other people. Yeah.
Yeah. Good plan,
So yeah,
and I'll follow the same. Let's check out Notion. How Bankless DAO uses Notion. Maybe you can take us through like how it, whatever you had in mind when you use. Yeah.
yeah. So essentially, in our Bankless DAO is a wiki, right? And this our homepage is essentially like the first 3 months I was in Bankless DAO. Basically, all I did was start from this page and go to wherever I needed to go in whatever guild or project. But one of the awesome resources that we have for guild members is our how-to guides. And again, there's not really people jumping up and down always directing you to these how-to guides. And so they're good to check frequently, um, because also as members figure things out, if you figure something out and there's not a how-to guide here, this is a place for you. These are all created by members. There's no
Hmm.
role holder. Like some of these role holders created, but like there's no role holder that's just their job is to create how-to guides. So all these
Got
are
it.
member.
I see.
Members see a need and then members create it. And in season 2, we did a How Bankless Uses Discord workshop. And so last season, we developed a How Bankless DAO Uses Notion workshop that stemmed from, essentially the Ops Guild creating this how-to article about how we use Notion. And this is mostly specifically how we use Notion and kind of the framework that members want to have in mind, as they, get access to Notion, and why we use it. Again, it's the source of truth for all things. If the U.S. or some country got cut off from a large chunk of the internet, the people that still had access to the Bankless DAO Notion would be able to, eventually work their way through it and keep the DAO going, and have all the resources and stuff, you know,
Right.
there to do it. And, you know, again, some of the core, like cultural principles, of course, is decentralization. And so nobody's controlling notions, taking care of your notions. Like your guild has a Notion page, it's the guild's responsibility to update and maintain that Notion. There's no other guild or supervisor that's going to come through and tell you that, it's messy, disorganized, or whatever. So they're often like little websites,
Hmm.
especially guilds. Their notions tend to be, like full on websites in themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. No, one thing, like, I was totally fascinated by the Notion. I think in DAOs generally, I think they tend to document as much as possible in order to facilitate cooperation and learning. And I think Bankless obviously has done such a phenomenal job. When I was introduced to Dowlations, the Dowlations Notion page is so nice to begin with. It completely describes what the guild is set out to do, and what how you should think about the guild, to the point of how every meeting is to be conducted. There's a template for it, and of course further systems being implemented, like the CRM, which NF Thinker the other day took us through, and which is so awesome. Maybe yeah so yeah.
It's a design guild too. Design guild has a really sharp notions, um, but right, each guild, each group in Bankless has its own governance and operations agreement,
Hmm.
for it to exist.
Okay.
And we put that, that should be essentially the first thing that you see on any guild's, page, is kind of what's the resources in that guild, how do you get involved with that guild, how do you get in touch with the role holders, and then treasury information, and then the governance and operations document. And
Yes.
wikis make it real easy to kind of to have all that. And again, the database is one of the key things that allow like a level of automation within the guild, if you can design and use the database effectively.
Okay. So are you savvy with databases?
I'm getting more and more savvy with Notion databases.
Hmm.
um,
But it
the
requires learning. It is not straightforward, is it?
I mean, I have a little bit of like fundamental knowledge about databases, so there is, it's basically just you know rows and columns
Hmm.
and tables. And the cool thing about Notions is you can select views of your database depending on the need of the person wanting to see the database.
Hmm.
So you know, you can find different opportunities in the research guild. You can look at the different projects by status. You can look at governance and operations, like work groups. Um, you can see, the different office hours and, get the agendas for those office hours. So they're pretty handy
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
little databases. And in the Notion Ninja education, the Learn to Earn course that's getting developed, the databases is really like the level 3 stage. First, you got to understand kind of like how we use it. Then there's just some basics in how to format the pages and build out pages. And then after you know how to build pages, which is pretty self-explanatory, um, then you can start playing with the databases.
Got it, got it. And
But
also one, yeah, continue, please
oh no,
continue.
I was just going to say, like, navigating them is and just being able to modify what's there is just as important to learn as to like how to build the databases. But it makes sense once you figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, another thing about databases, I think, is that you can create these templates, like for example, for a meeting notes or something that you can always just pull it up. If you have it as a database, is that a database? For
Yeah.
example, in
So
Dowlations, when you choose whether it is an introductory call or a weekly sync, it pulls up a template of its own.
yep. So here, basically, right? If you can identify the key work streams in your organization or the key types of meetings, um, with the CRM and relationships, it's about that customer relationship management and opportunities and different things. In Research Guild, it's more about research projects, research opportunities, and research work streams. And so Notion allows you to build out templates so that
Hmm.
anybody that wants to create a work stream, if it's a new work stream, they just create it, from the template, and then they already have, this is an unfinished template, but they should, if they pick a complete template, they should have everything that they need in that template to build out their work stream.
Got it, got it.
um, the for the projects template, here we have essentially a template where you identify your scope squad, you identify any working documents that you have going, you identify the main goal of the project, your action items, your deliverables, and then a database, because you're gonna need it for something. And so having this project template allows anybody to start a project in the guild, right? And that's autonomous organization.
Okay. And how about the collaboration aspect of it? Like, uh, I know that there are like a bunch of people on this page right here, and how is that decided? How are the permissions handled inside like a certain
So,
guild or a project?
yeah, that's one of the main um, things that kind of initiated the Notion educations was that last year we had somebody come in. Our Notions used to be very, very public. Like, as long as you were in the DAO and you had access to the Notions, you basically had access to edit anything that you wanted and invite other people to edit. And so somebody went through our Notions and changed a lot of information, um, and did it in not necessarily a malicious way to like attack us and extract tokens or anything like that, but
Okay,
did it in a way that let us
mistake.
know that we were vulnerable to this type of hack.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay. So with good intentions.
yeah. Um, whoa, I think I got some. Hello. Okay, hold on just a second.
Sure, sure,
Sorry.
no problem.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I'll bring this back.
Okay.
I got neighbors. They brought me supper.
Awesome. How nice.
Right. I'm gonna have to give them some bank tokens for we'll keep this up.
Tip. Yeah. Okay.
But so essentially, we had to redo the permissions in our Notions. We now have like Notion administrators or Notion ninjas in all the guilds, and we make sure that we are teaching people like how the Notions are set up. But basically, for you to get permissions to a guild or a project, you got to be an active contributor in that guild or project, and they have to know who you are. Otherwise, you're just going to get access to view, the web pages.
Got it. Got it. All right. Right now, it is at a place where it is well coordinated. The permissions are more further concrete and decided as to how it is being handled.
Yep. And generally, we keep our treasury information separate from our guild. So we'll have our treasury pages are actually usually in the ops guild, even though we have it referenced in the research guild. So that if you want to change treasury information, then you go to the ops guild, because they're keeping track of, they're you're going to have to be a role holder in the guild, and they're going to have to reach out to you. Um, we don't want people coming in and changing treasury information,
Right.
or client data or customer data. But by and large, we give a lot of access to members to create their own pages for the projects that they develop. That there's nobody telling somebody not to create pages. We just try to tell each other not to change other people's pages, right?
Right, right. This is one of the things I find most fascinating about DAOs. One of the reasons why I am drawn to DAOs is how transparently everything is being operated. Because even through my project, Salman Needs a Job, the whole idea is to understand other people's jobs. And within Bankless DAO, for example, there's literally opportunity to witness so many different jobs and actually test drive it, learn it, and even as you learn, you have an opportunity to earn. So it's really cool. And in addition, all of this documentation that is being done in public, and obviously the ability to opportunity to contribute along the way is just so empowering. And first time ever when like there's like a window into an organization that is creating like so many newsletters every week, so many podcasts every week, and so many other things that right now, even investment clubs, I think, and few different things, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, yep. And then so as part of the Notions education, so I'm like, well, how can this Notions education continue so that we don't have to like create a role and create like a department that's just there to teach everybody about Notions all the time? How can we create a way for people to like self-educate and self-study how we use Notions, and then use all the other additional, like, we just want to highlight how we use Notion differently. Outside of that, we want to point you to other Notion videos that already do a good job of explaining how Notions works, right? We don't need to, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that just focus on like how-to guides with Notions and stuff like
Right.
this. Like, you can do that, but that's not the goal of Bankless, per se, is to, teach everybody Notions and make unique videos. So I've experimented with a couple other like self-study courses in the past, and thought that this Notions would be good to create a self-study course. And so we essentially have videos, and these can be, and then we have the articles that goes with the content. But we have a video and we have a quiz, and Google Forms can grade your quizzes for you. And so we can then offer an incentive for members who watch the videos and do the quizzes. And then, of course, the first couple videos that they watch is just like an intro to Notion, and then an intro to how we use Notion. And after these two videos, it's all going to be other people's videos, and we just design the quizzes to go with those videos. And instead of giving folks bank for taking these courses, I just was like, man, I wonder if I can find anybody interested in making like little bankless ninjas to kind of use to like brand this product and this learn to earn opportunity. So people that watch these videos and do the quizzes, they'll earn a white belt, Bankless Ninja, a yellow belt, Bankless Ninja, a blue belt. And if they earn all three of those, they will earn a Decentraland 3D Bankless Ninja skin. So they'll be able to run around in Decentraland in a little red Bankless Ninja.
Damn cool. Yeah, I saw it the other day. It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm super excited about this. This is one of my first like, pretty cool NFT projects, and it being mostly just for DAO members keeps it pretty simple, and should keep it fun, and yeah, hopefully we'll get some events going this season or next with people running around in Decentraland, because there's other DAOs in Decentraland. We can raid Aladdin DAO with like just tons of Bankless ninjas and take screenshots.
Right.
You can have a lot of fun in Decentraland as ninjas, I think.
Okay. And also a great example of how NFTs are being used. Of course, you're even taking it to Decentraland, which is not very common. I don't find other people doing these kind. I'm completely new to this, but even generally speaking, how you're using NFTs for different tiers of accreditation and then graduating them into the metaverse, which is damn cool.
Well, yeah, and I'm not the one creating these NFTs or doing this artwork either. I've found the people that can do it and that are getting excited about doing it. By and large, I've just, framed out the project management, designed the revenue share agreements. This will bring a revenue share. So there'll be 500 of these NFTs of each belt for members to earn. and then there'll be 1,000 for sale in season 5, so that anybody can buy one of these ninjas that didn't get a chance to earn one, or that maybe it just plays in Decentraland, isn't even a DAO member. But
Yeah.
essentially, this should bring in a revenue share to 4 or 5 different guilds, and about a dozen different people altogether that have worked to build the quizzes, create the art, think about the metadata and the story that goes with the ninjas. There's is so many people actually working on little aspects of this project. I'm just kind of the one person that has the overview of this educational aspect of it.
Got it. This is awesome. I think I told you on messages I would have loved to talk to you about the other areas like governance and all, but I think we should save it for another conversation because that is a treasure trove in itself.
Yep.
Yeah, before we close this out, if you can just introduce like the homepage of the Notion, and for people new to the DAO, where they can get started and learn about DAOs, how to navigate this the Notion page, and help themselves get involved in Bankless DAO. And I'll be adding this link on the description here.
Yep. And the first 6 months, especially the first 3 months, I just kept coming back to this page, and making sure that I understood, one, how the DAO is kind of organized, what resources we have and we don't have for members. And then this is really the best way to learn about each guild. If for whatever reason, nobody showed up to a guild meeting and it had to start over, everybody would have to start over by going back to these Notion pages. And, they have, it's where you can see the opportunities in the Notion pages too. If you see Notion pages that are unorganized, or there's incomplete information or something that you can't find, that always told me that there's an opportunity to contribute in that guild or with that project.
How does that contribution would it lead to earning bank?
I think so. I've pretty much able to live full time off of Coordinape. I have pretty low expenses for an American, but most guilds, not all guilds, are doing monthly Coordinapes now, and Coordinapes are for that work that's unplanned, and kind of unbudgeted. And so making sure that when you do contributions and you sign up for Coordinape, that you put on your profile like the contribution that you did, understanding that just reading the notions is a contribution, and offering edits and asking questions are all contributions before you get to building. Again, just learning how to cooperate and work in a group, and learning the times when people are available to work. All this is work in a DAO.
Awesome. For people who don't know, just in case, Coordinape is a peer-to-peer rewarding system. Am I right?
Yes. Yep. That's a great way to put it.
DAOs.
Yep. And we even also have some real cool Coordinape information on our how-to guides. Last season, AV Guild published a couple videos. And then we also have somewhere here Coordinape stuff.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep. And again, we got some of our own information but we do let you know that Coordinape has a lot of information themselves. And yeah, I really like Coordinape. It works for a lot of the happy work.
Okay.
And I've been in some DAOs where we have small teams, and we'll do Coordinape every week.
Okay.
And you don't have to, if you're essentially the same work group, you don't have to sign up every week, right? Or every month. You can just, it just kind of kicks off. Everybody self-reports, everybody allocates their give. And then, another week or two goes by, and then there's another one. So it's definitely one of the best ways to earn bank. And, like I said, just about every guild has Coordinape. So it adds up. And it's all work that you can usually do at your own time. Whereas a lot of role holder work has, timely expectations, right?
Right.
You want to get paid after Coordinape. You don't want to have to wait like 2 months to get paid after something, happens.
Okay. This is also interesting.
Yep.
All right. So I think it's beyond an hour. I think we'll close it here. I think this was a great conversation for me, and would love to explore further another time. And but I think we had a lot of good conversation today.
No, it was great. You were really good at this.
Thank you.
For sure.
I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Bankless needs salmon.
Wow. Yeah, it's a joke there now. Everybody is like, Salman needs a job. I mean, here's a job for you. Yeah.
Yeah.